what makes a good scholarship essay? This is important to understand because the New Jersey Society of CPAs is offering scholarships in the amount of $2,000 for sophomores and $6,500 for juniors and seniors, and an essay is a key component of the application. The rules around the essay are fairly straightforward, but it's important to understand them up front. The essay should be about 500 words. You don't want to be too far above or below this threshold. You don't want to include any identifying information such as your name or school. Now, this is important. You should have context-rich detail, meaning include personal details from your experience because that is part of the criteria, as we'll see in a moment, but you just shouldn't include any proper names. Your essay will be judged on the following areas of content and originality, commitment to being a CPA, and the basics of grammar, language, and organization. And you should answer all topics that are being asked of you clearly and accurately. It should be unique, creative, and engaging. Part of this will be putting your personal and authentic voice into the essay. You should have good language and vocabulary. You should have an understanding of the CPA profession, and you should show some excitement about what you can accomplish as a CPA. So let's break down some basic tips around how you can write an effective essay. I'm going to restate a little bit of what we saw on the previous screen, but it's worth repeating. Number one, answer all the questions. Number two, you must inject your authentic voice and perspective into the essay. So share details from your story and explain how your response is unique to you. Write within the word cap, no spelling mistakes, no grammar mistakes, and remember, writing is always in revision. This basically means your first draft is never your final draft. You should expect to go back and edit it multiple times based on your own editing, but also maybe feedback from others. Okay, answering all the questions basically means you actively and carefully read what's being presented as the essay prompt. So for instance, sophomores, you have one question, which is, why did you choose accounting? And what do you think being a CPA will mean to your career? So that's actually one statement, but two questions. Number one, why did you choose accounting? And then, what do you think being a CPA will mean to your career? So you may have to make sure that you answer both prompts here. Juniors and seniors have a little bit more. You're being asked what interests you most about what you've learned and experienced so far about accounting. So this is really, what have you learned about accounting either in your personal experience, college, high school, etc., maybe even work experience. But then you're also being asked to provide specific examples. So substantiate what you're saying about what you've learned and use examples from your personal experiences and the knowledge you've gained from your academic and or work experience. And finally, you have to explain how those experiences have inspired you to pursue accounting and become a CPA. And note, not just an accountant, but a certified public accountant. So all of this detail must be part of your essay response. And it's easy to miss some of this and respond to maybe a portion of it. So this is what answering all the questions means. Okay, next you need to inject your authentic voice and perspective into the essay, and let's just look at an example of this. Let's imagine that I grew up and I had a parent who worked in a store and owned that store, and I learned accounting or was exposed to accounting because of my experience with that parent helping out in the store as a child. One way I can describe that is, I really liked accounting growing up because it helped me understand business. Now that's true, but it's really general. There's nothing really specific to my own experience. This could apply to anyone living anywhere in any kind of store, and there's just not enough detail. A more specific and context-rich statement would be, I learned about accounting growing up by helping my father in his small grocery store. I used to help him update the books for his business, so I handled the receipts, met customers, and knew that attention to detail was important. I have a parent who owned not just any store, but a small grocery store. What's more, I'm providing details about how I learned. I updated the books for the business, I handled receipts, and more. I'm painting a picture for the reader. So the reason these are context-rich are that they're details specific to me and my personal context, my upbringing, if I had this actual experience. So details like this are help what make an essay unique, creative, and engaging. Staying within the 500-word count is a fairly straightforward exercise. You need to make a discipline of checking your word count as you write. You can do that by using the Tools menu within MS Word or Google Docs. Next, there should be no spelling mistakes and no grammar mistakes. Both Microsoft Word and Google Docs provides checks on this, and there's simply no excuse to have either of these errors, particularly if you're editing and asking others to review for you. Finally, writing is in revision. That basically means you've got to be willing to edit this and have a timeline where you can go back and edit it multiple times and also ask others for help in editing it. So share it with a friend, share it with a professor, share it with a family member, and ultimately you want to make sure that you catch all potential mistakes, any potential grammar issues, and just in general, get feedback about what can most improve your essay to get it to a final state that you're comfortable sharing with the NJCPA.